in pandemic, staying in India, hometown, like I could work from anywhere, making 5 lakhs at the age of 27 is amazing. I miss that. So,
Hi guys, today we have Prashant Mahajan. He's the founder of Zira.io. It's a product for product managers. Before we jump into what Prashant is doing and what Zira is, we will obviously cover a lot of it. Hey Prashant, how are you doing? What's up?
thanks, Nikunj. Thanks, Ankit, for having me here. Uh, it's been a great journey. I remember PM school 4 years back to now. It's a great journey. So, thanks for having me here.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much, Prashant. Thank you so much for doing this. And three of us have known each other for the last, I think, 3.5, 4 years, as you mentioned, right? And let's start from the beginning, as they say. So, Prashant, I was reading an article you wrote back in 2020 about how you were about to take up a job in Japan, right? And then you left that to start your own company. And we have read a lot of founder stories on how they went about starting up, and yours is super interesting. So walk us through that thinking process about how and why you decided to not take up the Japan PayPal role, and it could have been a massive opportunity, right?
It was, I mean, I was earning 5 lakhs rupees per month. Uh, and that too in India, by the way. In Japan, it would have been a bit higher. So in pandemic, uh, staying in India, hometown, like I could work from anywhere, making 5 lakhs at the age of 27 is amazing. I miss that. So that is there. Uh, but the thing is, uh, I got taste of freedom. That's what happened, which kind of pushed me over the edge. So you know how it is like when you're doing job to job and you are getting a salary every month, you get comfortable with it. It's like a drug. So chala tha, acha hai. And then during and by the way, I was making 5 lakhs in before pandemic too at 26. So I was with branch. When I got laid off in April, I was making same money. So in April, I got laid off. So and that was the peak of pandemic. I don't know how many people could remember that intensity where everything was negative. Oh, this will never happen. Like people dying, all those news and companies shutting down. World will never be same. Now we know it's still the same. Like, but that time it was like over the edge. And I got laid off on I think 8th or 10th of April. And in that time, I was like stuck in Bangalore in a 1 BHK, 1 RK room, studio, whatever you want to say. And then I didn't get paid. I got in April the salary, but I didn't get paycheck in May. I didn't get it in June, and I could survive. So yes, I had saving. So I'll say that's the most critical part that I had saving, but I didn't get paid. So y- you realize that oh, I can live without it, and that's where you call it right, lahumu lag gaya. That okay,
Yeah.
this uh, this is there. So when I got a job in Japan, I was consulting them for 6 months before I decided to quit that. I got a job in end of June, started in July. I It was SoftBank Group, so one of the biggest names, and they were figuring out the visa and the travel bubble. So they gave me ticket and visa in October that I have to fly in November. But during this 6 months, the few things happened. One, I knew what it is to live without money. I knew um, that I discovered the product management as a pain point. I was talking to people, and I have always worked as a PM. I never had any other experience. So I knew I love product management, and I talked to people, and they were not happy. Anyone I talked to, any product leader, I was like, "Hey, I think I'm doing product management operationally. I want to do that strategic, creative work." They're like, "No, everyone does like this. This it's a mostly project management, and then product management is a part of it." I thought, yeah, ऐसा तो नहीं हो सकता. Like I knew in future there'll be a tool which will help make product management simpler, make it more innovative, more less operational. I just didn't want to be a user of it. I wanted to be a creator of it. And then there was also one element of right timing. I found the right co-founder whom I was talking to. I found the right problem which I was passionate about. I had enough savings to take a leap of faith. I uh, was at the right age. Like I did not have any financial or personal obligation, a sweet spot of 27. And then I was deciding Japan or staying back. And I decided that I have already worked in Indonesia, USA, and Japan could be another option. I've never started up. And there's this one mentor of mine whom I really used to talk, and he said, dude, you always keep on saying start karna hai. Just do it. I'll pay you 10,000 investment and I'll collect my friends. And they did. I got like, before even I uh, finished my notice period, I had a commitment of around 50, 70K. So I think there were a lot of right things at right time, but 50% of starting up is when you decide to start up. So eventually that call will never be right unless until you take it. So yeah, that's the thought process behind it.
Thank you, Prashant, for that. Prashant, obviously, one is deciding to start up, right? You must have decided, okay, this is my hypothesis, ye karna hai. And essentially, you have gone past that stage. You have taken the leap of faith, right? Now, imagine like starting up in pandemic. I'm imagining starting up in the pandemic, wherein obviously it's kind of one of the biggest recession sort of troughs for the economic at a macro scale. I'm thinking as a founder, there must be something that keeps you motivated, right?
Yeah.
And you have built conviction to a certain degree about solving a certain problem. But what keeps you going, right? Is it the end goal? Ki, हाँ, eventually ये होगा? Because there must be days which must be super tough, right? And if you can talk about your thinking process, यार इस दिन ऐसे लग रहा था कि क्यों कर रहे हैं, क्या कर रहे हैं, and what keeps you going in general?
That day was day before yesterday for me.
Oh.
So so it's not even, I'm not even going 3 years back because I woke up with one customer who was like literally we had sent contract. It was a $20,000 deal. Uh, probably was going to help us. They said that, oh, we are moving with the competition. And I'm like, you never mentioned that. You just dropped me an email. And then by end of the day, there was another customer who said, oh, this is not working. I'm backing off. That India is one of the biggest SaaS companies. And in between that, there were uh, one or two more things which happened, like something with your team, something in your personal life, something in the industry that I remember some competitor launched something. So you are like, what the fuck is happening? Like, mm, so that feeling happens so frequently now in this whole journey of uh, startup that you become more neutral. Meaning, there are in a day you will have ups and downs, and you could have closed a deal and someone resigned. You could have raised funding and your product launch failed. So all these things happen that you have become a very neutral and stoic in that sense. If anyone wants to become good at controlling their emotions, I think being a founder, we all have heard that stories where crazy founders shouting and you know ordering people, and I have been one of that company without naming it. Uh, but Indian people can guess it, so that is it. Uh, uh, but when you uh, see that everyone is trying, your investors trusted you because they give you money. Your customers are literally getting on calls, spending their time, so they are not like fooling around with you. Your team took a leap of faith, so they are trying to do the justice. All these things, everyone is trying, and so are you. There are, it just sometimes doesn't work out. And for in that time, the only motivation which I generally have is one, people's trust. Meaning, end goal, no one knows. I mean, yes, I want to be a successful company IPO'd founder, but Uh, what motivates is, yes, problem. I'm passionate about product management. I want to solve it. Every day I go on a call, I hear people still facing that problem. So that motivates me. But even bigger than that is your team, your investors, your customers. Even in some cases, could be your partner, your co-founder. That they are also in this journey. So in Greta's case, by the way, there are very few people who have left. So because they believe in the problem. Investors still, when I give them bad news that we did not hit the target, they're like, okay, continue this path. So yeah, that's the motivation.
Interesting, yeah. So, Prashant, moving to next question, right? So, running a SaaS business out of India for US companies, right, has typically been the way for founders starting up in the B2B space. So, talk to us about your journey, right? You're also based out of the US, and what challenges have you faced in trying to crack the US market as well as the India market? You said that you have, some of the biggest companies of India are also your clients as well, right?
Yeah. So we started, because we started in pandemic, I had to be in India. Actually, that helped a lot because we are work from office first. So it helped me build a bond with people, a trust, a relationship where I know that I don't have to do any micromanagement. I don't have to do call every day. Except my co-founder, probably I don't do daily call with anyone. So that helped me. But building from India, whatever people say, I'll say 80% is true. Meaning, uh, there are still maturity level missing in terms of overall software. Like I can tell you that you will find people who have been do. Let's talk about product management, which is what we move people with who will be listening will be there. In Indian, I have seen maximum people who are product managers who started becoming product manager in 2010 when the whole software as a service started, like Flipkart, Myntra, etc. They started coming up, or it could be 2008 or 9, but not beyond below before that. Most people before that were working in a project management role or um, consulting or IT services role. They were not building product. On the other hand, I have met people in Bay Area who have been in product management for 30 years. That's my age. Like Oracle, Sun Microsystems, Netscape, uh, Google. So the overall experience, 20, 25 years, is way higher than average experience you see in India leadership compared to there. So now, again, it's not to say that, oh, India is bad or something, but you have to understand that because they had more time, they had more uh, improvisation. So second thing is the density. I know Bangalore is the hub and everything, but the density of people in Bay Area sets it apart. These are the two major differences which I have felt personally moving to Bay Area and, as compared to India. And obviously, when you are selling SaaS, the average company size is bigger in USA. Average
Yes.
appetite to, yeah, so USA, it's bigger to in USA. Average appetite of people because they're so used to buying. It's like we are so used to, let's say, something on a daily chaos and daily basis or buying something on a daily basis that we never think about it. Like 10, 15 rupees doesn't matter. So we are used to that. Similarly, there, it's so used to buying a tool that they don't think about it a lot. Or I'll say they think about it, but do not question price and everything because they know that, oh, this is the average cost. So that's a major differentiator. But there are challenges. Like, uh, and one of the thing which a lot of people reach out to me, oh, you moved to USA. We are planning to move to USA. Would love to understand. And my first question is why? Matlab, why you want to move here? And the question, I'll tell you the reply which I get, and I'm like, that doesn't make sense because our customers are in USA. And I am like, no, your customers are not in USA. your potential customers are in USA. What are you going to do? And they're like, oh, maybe in the being in the time zone will help. I'm like, but you can stay awake at night. Like as a founder, you can stay. I used to stay awake till 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Uh, so anyone who's doing a call in Bay Area can do a call between 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. easily, 11, 12. You being in India can stay awake from till 12 or 1 in the night if you're the founder. So time, no, I mean, I'm not going and sitting in their office, right? So time zone is not the issue. Second, people say that, oh, just being closer to customer. What sense? Matlab, you're not going to have a party or something with them. What do you mean by being closer to customer? It will help with more sales. How? Because your sales channel are two only, inbound, outbound. Inbound is your SEO and performance marketing and social media, which you can do from India. Your outbound is uh, cold calling or messages or outbound engine, which you can do from uh, India. You might have a event which you want to attend, but for that you can fly and go back. It's cheaper. So that's why people, and then people's question comes is, but you also move now. I'm like, yeah, you are not building my company. You're building your company. तो मैं छलांग मारूंगा तुम भी मारोगे क्या मतलब like तुम अपना reason बताओ. I'm just questioning. I'm being devil's advocate here, and then they are not able to answer that. Because you have seen everyone getting O1 visa and going to USA. चलो, it's a new JE exam. ये भी कहते हैं. So, and I'll tell you why I moved so that people again don't question it. My reason to moving was I wanted to build brand, meaning I I have been doing brunches with people. I have been meeting with people. I have been sponsoring events. I have been uh, doing everything to spread the word, not to get leads and not to make sales, but one, to spread the word, and that's playing in our favor. Second, we had to hire a salesperson here, and I didn't want to hire. It's very tough to hire someone remotely if you're in India because at our stage of company, if there's no one and they're dictating from, you can't get a good talent. We got a very good salesperson who has been at Zendesk, ClickUp, uh, uh, Copper, HelpShift, like good experience. Now, in order to get him, I had to. So these are my reasons: building the team, building the brand. But that's one thing which I feel people कि चलो चलते हैं बैग उठा के USA. That is not going to help because it's lonely. One of the biggest challenge. You don't have a community के नाम पे you have other founders and everyone. You don't have friends, family. It's expensive, shit expensive. I'll be honest. I used to save more money when I was in India than I'm saving now, even though I'm getting higher salary. So that is there. And then there is a definitely expectation. The expectation from team, investors, everyone कि अब तो यूएसए गया तो फोड़ ही रहा होगा. That these are the things to be careful about.
Thank you, Prashant, for such an elaborate answer. You did cover bits and pieces, but so 3 years हो गए, right? It's been like over 3 years now. Uh, I'm trying to simplify here, but fundamentally, let's say there are three buckets, right? One is essentially building your product. आपका focus रहा है कि हाँ, getting the right product out there. The second is essentially selling, right? Obviously, distribution कैसे crack कर रहे हो and sales कैसे crack कर रहे हो. And the third part being hiring the right team, right? Early stage, obviously, I'm not saying at every stage it's important to get the right puzzle in terms of each of the positions you're hiring for, but early team बहुत important रहती है, right? क्यों motivation, you want them to like really knock it out of the park and like really own it. So in these three buckets, what do you think has been like the biggest challenge? And like, can you also like an L2 is second part में selling में, if you can also elaborate on how was the experience getting the first client? So obviously
Sure.
these three buckets for a bigger challenge and getting your first client, if you can elaborate on that.
I'll actually touch the second question first, which is getting the earlier client.
Yeah.
So uh, there's this person he's a product leader at Coinworks, Aditya. He actually heard from community only, I think. Uh, so I reached out, pinged, and he trusted us. And there was another customer who we closed, but we didn't know. So the funny story is, I was just reaching out to people on LinkedIn. He was like, "Oh, I'm looking for a solution." I got on a call. Then turned out we were batchmates in college. We didn't know that. We had never talked in college, but we were from same college, same batch. And he was like, "Yeah," he pushed it. So internal champion. So first two customers, community, and is the play. There's a recent Sam Altman that first 10 customers don't scale. Just pinging people, hey, you fellow. That's there. Because don't go for the absolute number of quantity, but go for the quality. So we
Right.
have been getting from that. Uh, but be careful. Uh, you need to prove that someone is going to pay for it. And that should not be your friends and family. Perfect community and not friends and family. Now coming to the first question, which is actually a bit longer than that, because the three things you mentioned, product, sales slash GTM, and team, they all need to come together to make the company successful. And I'll say that product has been good because we didn't face a lot of challenge. Maybe because coming from the product background, having the understanding, it has been iterative thing. I mean, we launched first version, second version, third version, and it is still going on. Oh, anyone who has seen the product has said, "Oh yeah, you are good." One mistake which we did, and I'm telling you mistakes, because that's all I can share. Um, the first mistake was we went too broad. We were trying to solve product management completely, and then we realized that product management has so many moving pieces that we were not able to build depth. So we had to narrow it down to product discovery and planning. So 1 year we got wasted, or I'll say, did that mistake of building very broad, then coming back and going deep. So if anyone's starting, go deeper, go narrower. The second thing you mentioned, GTM. I think we tried everything. We experimented with SEO, paid ads, content, outbound, inside sales, agencies, everything you can imagine, we did it. And I have one mistake there, which follows to your the team part also. We did too much. We should not have done. We hired a team where we had people, investors told us, "Oh, you have raised money. Now get a salesperson, build a team below it." So we got a business person, we got two SDRs, two account executive, two CSMs under, and we were like, "Oh, let's now the world will change." That was the biggest mistake I did as a founder. That should not have done. We should have done things that don't scale. So sales is still a challenge, but uh, should have done myself, and should have also defined a ICP better. ICP, ideal customer profile for people. But what we did there mistake was we we knew we are building for B2B companies. We knew we are building for companies which have at least 5 PM. We knew we want to target USA. हमें किसी ने टाटा 1mg से कनेक्ट कराया, हमने उनसे बात करी, हमने उनके लिए प्रोडक्ट बनाना शुरू कर दिया, एंड दैट वेस्टेड आवर 3 month effort, एंड जो हमने बनाया दैट इज नॉट बीइंग यूज्ड, वी हैड टू मूव इट अवे. वी शुड हैव बीन केयरफुल दैट यार B2C कंपनी है, इंडिया कंपनी है, साइज भी बड़ा है, क्यों बना रहे हैं इसके लिए. वी शुड हैव सेड नो, बट वी डिडंट, क्योंकि हमें लगा अरे पैसे दे रहे हैं, टाटा 1mg का नाम है, इट्स अ बिग नेम. इन रेट्रोस्पेक्ट वी शुड बी वेरी केयरफुल कि यार ये इनके लिए प्रोडक्ट बनाना है, सबके लिए प्रोडक्ट बनाना. तो दैट वाज अ मिस्टेक वेयर हमने बहुत छोटे कस्टमर्स को ऑनबोर्ड कर लिया, हमने B2C कंपनीज को ऑनबोर्ड कर लिया, फिर वो चर्न हो गए, फिर हमें मोराल डाउन हो गया, तो हमने प्रोडक्ट बना दिया जो कोई यूज नहीं कर रहा है. तो ये गलती है. Last part, which is team, that's the most important part. लकीली हमारी जो कोर इनिशियल टीम है उसमें कोई छोड़ के नहीं गया. वी हैड टू लेट गो 1 or 2 people ड्यू टू नॉट बीइंग द राइट फिट फॉर अस एंड देम. बट अभी भी लोगों के 3 साल पूरे होने वाले हैं. मतलब जब से कंपनी है तब से लोगों के 3 साल पूरे होने वाले हैं. दे हैव स्टक अराउंड एंड ट्रस्ट मी व्हेन आई से दे, उनकी कंपनी है. लाइक दे हैव द फुल ओनरशिप. एंड अभी हमने सबके ईसॉप भी डबल कर दिया. एंड फ्रॉम द जॉइनिंग डेट, क्योंकि if someone is trusting us for 3 years, they can get better job. I'll say better paying jobs out there. But they are sticking with for the vision. They are sticking for the long-term picture. So we value that. Getting the right team initially is very tricky because I'll tell you the conundrum there, जो थोड़ा tricky है क्या कि let's say हम तीनों स्टार्टअप करते हैं, हमारे पास पैसे नहीं है, सम एंड हमें एक मार्केटर चाहिए. हम कहीं जाते हैं, अब हमारे पास पैसे नहीं है, तो गुड टैलेंट इज एक्सपेंसिव. तो हम जो हम कोई रिस्क ले रहा है, दे माइट नॉट हैव अदर ऑप्शंस और दे रियली बिलीव इन यू. वेरी हाई चांसेस दैट फर्स्ट थिंग. नाउ यू गॉट देम, दे आर नॉट द बेस्ट क्योंकि तुम्हारा ना ब्रांड है, ना तुम्हारे पास पैसे हैं, और ना तुम्हारे पास uh, कुछ और है टू ऑफर इक्विटी के अलावा जो वर्थलेस है एट दैट पॉइंट. Especially because you'll be hiring a junior, for them it doesn't matter. You got that person. Now मैं अपना माइंडसेट बता रहा हूँ. इट्स नॉट वर्किंग आउट आफ्टर 3-4 months. इट्स नॉट वर्किंग आउट. पर तुम्हारे तुम्हारे चले यार कि तुम कौन सा तोप हो. मतलब यू आर ऑल्सो स्ट्रगलिंग, ठीक है, एंड दिस पर्सन टुक अ रिस्क विद यू. टीच देम, इन्वेस्ट इन देम. और वो करते करते 1 साल हो गया हमारे लिए. एंड देन लाइक यार कि अब 1 साल इसने डे वन से हमारे साथ है, अब क्या रिस्क, मतलब इट विल बी अनफेयर. हम और इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं. एंड देन इवेंचुअली डिसीजन वही था कि वी हैड टू लेट गो द पर्सन एंड गेट समवन एक्सटर्नली एंड थिंग्स स्टार्टेड मूविंग. तो वो जो है ना कि यू यू हैव टू बैलेंस के उन्होंने तुम्हारे साथ रिस्क लिया है एंड दे आर नॉट lacking the talent is a tough thing. So I'll definitely say ke hire slow, fire fast. Firing is not a bad term, by the way. It's mainly that you are not the right fit for each other, because there were examples where people are very good. It's just that they could be better for a Series A startup or Series C startup or a B2C company or some other thing, but not for Veda. So firing is not a bad thing. People when hear firing, oh, negative आ जाता है, but it's mainly parting the ways early and that's very important. And these are all the mistakes in 3 areas which I did.
Super interesting, yeah. We'll move on to a few questions which are probably not about Zeta, but definitely want your point of view there as well, right? So we had seen your post about SEO, and if we remember correctly, you said कि यार SEO ना बहुत long term game होता है,
Yeah.
and we've seen firsthand on how organic growth propels companies, right? So could you shed some light on how you think a founder should pick his first 2 or 3 channels, right? At an early stage, you are crunched for resources, as you said. So how would you invest in SEO from day one, while you have to, you're trying to crack your first set of your users or first set of clients, right? In a B2B context, if you can answer.
Yeah, now it has become very easy to create SEO focused content. There are so many AI tools, so just get some SEO tool, create a blog, and start publishing it there. You might not have money, get freelancers, go there. Cheapest trick, go to Fiverr, buy backlink. Like you need motion going. I'll tell you, we get around 20,000 traffic every month. And now 70%, 60% is from USA. So, and that is more than 10x than 1 year back. 1 year back, we were around 2,000 or something to 3,000. So it has grown that way because we have been investing from 2 years back. So you have to look that it's not day one. There are I mean, people make it very complicated. You don't have to. So there's a thing you have to understand: 0 to 80, 80 to 100. I'm not saying 80 to 100 takes dedicated SEO person, technical, on page, off page, etc. 0 to 80 or 70 is very simple. Get a good super blog or Webflow or Framer or whatever website template. Make it SEO optimized. There are tools which tell you what you can optimize. Make those changes over the weekend. Get a freelancer to write your content. In India, it costs around, I can tell you, 3 to 5,000 per piece. If you don't want to write yourself, but get a starting them to write a piece, get it published, uh, optimize your, give it to an agency also. We were paying an agency 1.5 lakh a month. If you have money, if you don't have money, it's fine. Uh, get interns to get it done. And if you have time, ju- by the way, AI content is very shitty, but there are two parts to content. One is you are writing content for people to read or Google to read. Here we are talking about content for Google to read. It's never going to be good, but it just does the trick. So just doing that will be there. So that's SEO. The two channel, if I have to start again, which I'll do now is people pay less on branding. I'll say go loud on branding. मतलब तुम ही हो ऐसा होना चाहिए. I learned this from Rocket Lane. Dude, Rocket Lane did great job, and the founder, she himself, recently at an event, he said that his first company, he did not invest on branding. Second company, they were from day one. Like 101 pe jao, the California highway, you'll see their billboards. Like we were at a non-related event, and the person was like, "There's an Indian company whose ARR is this, but I thought it to be 5 times bigger, just from a because of their perception." Uh, so invest on a high quality branding, like basic mistakes like हमने भी करी. You start a company, your page, everything looks Indian, every employee looks Indian. So you are not a global company and we pitch it as a global. But I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just saying that these are basic uh, thing. If you're showing perception to be global, use the uh, illustrations on your website to be more global audience. Uh, people can मतलब वो grammar mistakes हैं. They are using British English somewhere, American English somewhere. These are very basic mistakes. Get a Grammarly Pro and make sure you fit whatever your geography is to be there. So building brand, partnering with people, partnering with influencers on day one, uh, that should be there. And third one would be, I'll say, founder led sales. मतलब LinkedIn पे बैठो, community पे बैठो, पिंग करो, या लेगा लेगा लेगा. That is, I learned it hard way after spending 1 year over a business team. Now I do everything myself and with one more salesperson. But yeah, that's these are three channels.
Thank you, Prashant. Prashant, I have a like different. So we have talked to you on LinkedIn. We have gone through your list of posts. There's an interesting post wherein you said you had one more idea about the Airbnb for luggage storage.
Yeah,
I want like obviously everybody when they start with a certain problem space, right? They have different ways of figuring out ki market size bada hai, is the problem right, and trying to find the struggling point. Is it a problem or not, right? Do you have a framework or maybe just a way of thinking to figure out कि हाँ ये बड़ा idea है नहीं है? Is this like a big bold bet, right? How do you
yeah,
decide whether the idea is worth its salt, right?
got it. So the Airbnb for luggage clockroom.in, that was back in 2015-16. I was a kid, so it never materialized, and uh, I also didn't know anything back then. So that's there. But in terms of idea, I can tell you, we created a very simple. People ask me what is the story behind Feda, the name Feda. I'm like, single syllabi, $10 domain. Like not even $10, 600 rupees back then. And we didn't think about it. Like पैसे होंगे तो we'll कर लेंगे यार, रीब्रांडिंग कर लेंगे. हच वोडाफोन भी तो वही है, मतलब एयरटेल करता है, सब कर लेते हैं तो हम भी कर लेंगे. पहले तो आई एम अगेन दिस इज काउंटर इंट्यूटिव टू व्हाट आई. तो ब्रांडिंग पे, परसेप्शन पे वैसे खर्च करो, ये छोटे लोगों वगैरह पे इतना फोकस मत दो, नाम लोगों पे. तो वी गॉट सिंगल सिलेबाई डोमेन, एक टेम्पलेट उठाई, वेबो ने उसको AWS पे होस्ट किया, मतलब कहीं फ्री पे होस्ट किया है हमने, तो पेड वो भी नहीं लिया, एंड इट वाज जस्ट अ वेट लिस्ट, एंड वी वर लाइक कि हम तो बेच रहे हैं, मतलब गेट अर्ली एक्सेस, वी गॉट साइन अप, दैट वाज द अर्ली इंडिकेशन. सेकंड, talk to people. The people, one of the biggest mistake is people start building without uh, validating. I still talk every week to at least two product leaders and keep talking to users. Third, um, the highest level of validation if you want. तो एक वेबसाइट बनाओ बहुत अच्छी, मतलब पे मनी फॉर दैट. उसमें साइन अप का बटन है, उसमें क्रेडिट कार्ड का पेज डालो, उसके बाद बोल दो कि थैंक्स, विल इन्फॉर्म यू 2 months लेटर व्हेन विल लाइक. मतलब तुम्हें पता है कि कोई साइन अप कर रहा है, दैट फर्स्ट लेवल ऑफ वैलिडेशन, कोई पे कार्ड डिटेल डाल रहा है, एंड उसके बाद उसको तुम सिर्फ यही कह रहे हो ना कि वी आर नॉट चार्जिंग एनीथिंग, वी आर, दिस इज जस्ट अ ट्रायल, विल गेट बैक. क्या होगा, वो नहीं आएगा. बट अगर उसकी पेन पॉइंट थी तभी उसने क्रेडिट कार्ड डाला. तो यू डोंट नीड टू हैव वर्किंग प्रोडक्ट, यू जस्ट नीड टू मेक श्योर कि वैलिडेशन है. एंड other thing is, if you have multiple idea, or uh, one thought there is, ऐसा नहीं है कि आइडिया है तो चलो अपनी जॉब छोड़ो, लेट्स गो ओवर इट. जस्ट मेक श्योर दैट यू आर टॉकिंग टू स्मार्ट पीपल टू गेट परसेप्शन. बाय द वे, स्मार्ट पीपल कैन बी रॉन्ग. इफ स्मार्ट पीपल वर राइट तो दुनिया में इनोवेशन नहीं होती. तो देयर अ saying which I love, which is, fool did not know it was impossible, so he did it. क्योंकि so that's a very profound thinking. You have a hypothesis, you have a conviction, talk to users, spend time in validating globally, ad chala do jo China kar do, get traffic. And third, now no code, low code is very easy, but there's a मतलब controversial take, not controversial, but just a take on that. लोग ना बाकियों से पैसे मांगने चले जाएंगे, मतलब के अरे पैसे दे दो एंड हमें बनाना है. अगर कोई 5-6 साल से जॉब कर रहा है, आई एम जस्ट सेइंग के, आई से के 4-5 साल से पहले तो स्टार्टअप करके, इट्स अ वेरी, यू हैव इंडस्ट्री एक्सपीरियंस, 5 साल से जॉब कर रहे हो, यू वुड हैव सेव्ड 10,000 20,000 डॉलर, मतलब इतना तो जोड़ ही लिया होगा ना, 5-6 लाख तो जोड़ ही लिया होगा, 10 लाख. अगर तुम अपने 10 लाख की सेविंग में 5 लाख रुपए इस पे इन्वेस्ट नहीं करना चाहते, ठीक है, मैंने से 5 लाख इन्वेस्ट, पेइंग सम interns to build a prototype, paying on advertisement, paying an agency to build website, डिजाइनर, मार्केटर. 5 लाख रुपए 6 महीने के लिए बहुत होते हैं, आई एम टेलिंग, मतलब 6 नहीं तो 3 महीने के लिए तो बहुत होते हैं, 3-4 महीने के लिए तुम्हें अगर ये सब चलाना है. तुम अपने पैसे नहीं इन्वेस्ट करना चाहते, किसी के क्यों कराओगे फिर? तो बिकॉज व्हेन मी एंड वेबर स्टार्टेड, वी न्यू के हमारे पास दोनों ने 10-10 लाख, मैंने 10 और वेबर ने आई थिंक 7-8 कमिट किए थे, मतलब ऐसा हमारे पास था के 15 लाख रुपए हमने कमिट किए थे. लकीली वी गॉट फंडिंग, बट वी वर लाइक 15 लाख रुपए हम इस पे चलाने वाले हैं. वो चले ना चले बात की बात है, बट 15 लाख का हमने वो रखा था. आई थिंक के दो लोग फाउंडर्स हैं, हर एक के दोनों के पास 5-5 लाख की फीएंगे, 10 लाख तो तुम कर ही सकते हो. तो स्पेंड सम टाइम, स्पेंड मनी, स्पेंड एनर्जी. तो दैट्स द ओनली वे.
Nice.
Right. I think that's very true here.
Mm.
Right. One last question, Prashant, we have for you, and we keep seeing, you posting a lot on our PM School community as well, on LinkedIn as well, that you are very active on Product Hunt. You do a lot of these Product Hunt launches, right? So first of all, what are the benefits of, launching stuff on Product Hunt, be it, a newsletter, or be it, a new release or a product? And what would be your advice to founders on, how to leverage a platform like ProductHunt?
Don't get too emotional about it. मतलब for me, Product Hunt is a dopamine, basically. So there are two type of launches. which we do. One is major Veda law, which we have done only two, and I have been involved from start to end in those. Veda 1.0, which we did last year, 23rd August, and Veda 2.0, which we did around 19th or 20th May this year. Both of them this year was number one position, last year was number two position. Because I was very actively involved in that. Other launches are more of a growth hack. So lead gen channel you can call. So people are looking for courses. Okay, they are searching, they found us. We get backlink. People are searching for uh, releasenote.ai, free, AIproductdiscovery.com, free. We just get the email ID from that. Now, what it does is few things. Number one, it keeps you, uh, it creates one in team uh, startup spark. People are doing themselves. I'm not involved in those, by the way. I just share the link, but people are doing. So they create a small startup and launch. They get that excitement, that burst, that motivation going. For them, it's a good hackathon, you can say. We don't spend more than 2, 3 days, 4 days on that. Uh, Second, outside it, there's a perception that कुछ तो कह रहे हैं ये लोग अरे मतलब investors reach out, you for example took a notice, customers took a notice, तो it's you are doing a oh क्योंकि जो प्रोडक्ट में लॉन्च करोगे वो लोग जिन्होंने साइन अप किया उन्हीं को पता चलेगा बट प्रोडक्ट हंट ऐसी कम्युनिटी है जहाँ पे पीएम्स आर वेरी एक्टिव so I'm talking specifically for PMs right now. Third, it gives a contact, मतलब leads आती रहती है, ठीक है. And finally, a lot of people get very emotionally attached. Trust me, even we are number one, we have got 1,000 leads in a day. वो अगले दिन churn हो जाएंगे अब 2-3 दिन बाद. I I'm yet to find a company who have successfully converted. मतलब वो हम सुनते हैं लूम ने कर लिया ये कर लिया but 90% of your 99% of your leads from product hunt are not going to convert. तो वो माइंडसेट होना जरूरी है कि क्या तुम इसको सेल्स के लिए कर रहे हो या पाइपलाइन के लिए कर रहे हो. ये दो डिफरेंट चीजें हैं. तो हमारे लिए इट्स पाइपलाइन, इट्स नॉट सेल्स. क्योंकि मतलब
Got it.
जेपी मॉर्गन का वीपी ऑफ प्रोडक्ट थोड़ा बैठ के वो चला रहा होगा या मतलब
Right.
तो दैट्स द थॉट.
Alright. Super thanks यार, super valuable. मुझे लगा नहीं था इतना मीट मिलेगा हर क्वेश्चन में. That's why we had like 9 questions, but काफी valuable था प्रशांत. Thank you for doing this podcast. I think
एनीथिंग
that's it
यार,
from me.
परफेक्ट. मतलब आई नो I have been with PM school since my startup journey also. Like I think 6 months before my startup journey, I got involved with PM school. But recently, I'll tell you this caveat, and I'll not take the name, but I was with Suhas Motwani, person sitting with him. We were talking that um, about all these courses and everything, and we realized that some American competitor of yours उसका पॉजिटिव रिव्यू नहीं है एंड पीएम स्कूल का स्टिल हमने पॉजिटिव रिव्यू सुना है. So that is and I think I have even got my team from to do PM school. So it's a good journey. Glad to see the progress, especially bootstrapping it. I remember someone reaching out to me कि connect करवा दो यार पैसे invest कर रहे हो तो, and you both were like नहीं we are not raising. So great journey there.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, yeah. And thanks to Suhas also. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, perfect.